On January 15th, a patient took an indirect flight to Washington, where he lives just north of Seattle. The next day he fell ill and went to a nearby clinic. On January 20th, samples were confirmed by the CDC in Atlanta that, in fact, he carried the novel coronavirus and he was hospitalized. This was the first case of novel coronavirus in the United States.
And so what was President Xi saying yesterday?
Well, we were talking mostly about the virus, and I think he's going to have it in good shape, but, you know, it's a very tricky situation. It goes through air, Bob. That's always tougher than the touch. You know, the touch, you don't have to touch things, right? But the air, you just breathe the air. That's how it's passed.
Hello, I'm Sky Keith, and welcome to my channel. YouTube is the place to broadcast your message and brand your ideas. If you like what you see, be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss a thing. Today we're going to talk about downplaying coronavirus. Truth is dead. That's Trump on tape, deliberately undermining the national security of the United States and the health and well-being of the people of the United States. Trump gave 18 interviews to the famed Watergate journalist Bob Woodward. Trump gave Woodward his personal cell phone number and sometimes would get phone calls after 9 p.m. from Trump. Trump was trying to get a favorable view of him in Woodward's new book, Rage. Rage is about Trump's behavior, thoughts, and actions about the national security in the middle of a coronavirus pandemic, the economic collapse, and the Black Lives Matter protests.
And so that's a very tricky one. That's a very delicate one. It's also more deadly than your strenuous flus. You know, people don't realize we lose 25,000, 30,000 people a year here. Who would ever think that, right?
I know.
It's pretty amazing. And then I say, well, is that the same thing? This is more deadly. This is 5% versus 1% and less than 1%. You know, so this is deadly stuff.
We have very little problem in this country at this moment.
Well, we pretty much shut it down coming in from China. We're going to see what happens, but we did shut it down, yes.
You know, a lot of people think that goes away in April with the heat, as the heat comes in. We're in great shape, though.
And, you know, in April, supposedly it dies with the hotter weather.
Looks like by April, you know, in theory, when it gets a little warmer, it miraculously goes away. I hope that's true. And I think the numbers are going to get progressively better as we go along. We have it very much under control in this country. Because of all we've done, the risk to the American people remains very low. It's going to disappear. One day, it's like a miracle. It will disappear. You know, it could get worse before it gets better. It could maybe go away. We'll see what happens. Nobody really knows. Now the Democrats are politicizing the coronavirus. You know that. Coronavirus. And this is their new hoax.
If Woodward released this recording in February, we wouldn't have seen the timeline when Trump would tell Woodward the truth, and then when Trump would lie to the American people. You can see from Trump's downplaying the coronavirus, it was no longer a public health issue for America, but an issue of politics that would stand in the way of Trump's re-election.
It's turning out it's not just old people, Bob. Just today and yesterday, some startling facts came out. It's not just older
young people,
to plenty of young people.
So
what's going on
give me a moment of talking to somebody, going through this with Fauci or somebody who kind of, it caused a pivot in your mind, because it's clear just from what's on the public record that you went through a pivot on this to, oh my God, the gravity is almost inexplicable and unexplainable.
Well, I think, Bob, really, to be honest with you,
sure, I want you to.
I wanted to always play it down. I still like playing it down.
Yes,
because I don't want to create a panic.
Anybody that needs a test can have a test. They're all set.
Are you concerned that the virus is getting closer to the White House?
No, I'm not concerned at all. No, I'm not. It will go away. Just stay calm. It will go. We're in great shape compared to other places. We are in really good shape. Yeah, no, I don't take responsibility at all.
When Trump blames China for releasing the virus and lying about it, he's hiding his own participation in a criminal act of complicity. Trump made a trade deal with China to get help in the election. To protect that deal, Trump worked with China to play down the virus. Trump used the CCP strategy called censorship. Trump used the same censorship in the United States, downplaying the coronavirus by lying and delaying the American response for months. Trump's been trying to play victim, and now China has shut down the trade deal. In Trump's final interview with Woodward in July, Trump doesn't accept any responsibility for the spread of the virus in the U.S. That has now killed over 200,000 Americans.
All right, please, John.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Why did you lie to the American people, and why should we trust what you have to say now?
Such a terrible question, and the phraseology. I didn't lie. What I said is we have to be calm. We can't be panicked. I knew that the tapes these were a series of phone calls that we had, mostly phone calls. And Bob Woodward is somebody that I respect just from hearing the name for many, many years, not knowing too much about his work, not caring about his work. But I thought it would be interesting to talk to him for a period of, calls. So we did that. I don't know if it's good or bad. I don't even know if the book is good or bad. But certainly if he thought that was a bad statement, he would have reported it because he thinks that, you don't want to have anybody that is going to suffer medically because of some fact. And he didn't report it because he didn't think it was bad. Nobody thought it was bad. Wait a minute. And your question, the way you phrase that is such a disgrace. It's a disgrace to ABC Television Network. It's a disgrace to your employer.
On the day that we hit 190,000 dead in the United States because of COVID-19, we just learned from the Washington Post columnist Bob Woodward that the President of the United States has admitted on tape in February he knew about COVID-19 that had passed through the air. He knew how deadly it was. It was much more deadly than the flu. He knew and purposely played it down. Worse, he lied to the American people. He knowingly and willingly lied about the threat it posed to the country for months.
Trump didn't listen to the experts. He undermined the science all that time. Trump's mental health is infectious, even more than the coronavirus. His public health response to lie about the virus infected millions and killed thousands and placed countless American families in serious economic distress. Trump downplayed the virus because of the impact it would have on him. Trump's re-election. Trump was warned by experts that this would be his greatest test as president, and Trump failed. All of Trump's fear-mongering, defunding the police, the suburbs, the caravans, the deep state, Antifa, Second Amendment rights, open borders, MS-13, windmill cancer, voter fraud, you name it. All of these things Trump made up and are lies. But the public health crisis, the pandemic we're in the middle of, that's far from over, that's real. Why would anybody support Trump who would downplay or lie about the coronavirus and kill the truth about 200,000 deaths?